Hi everybody, I'm Susan, and in this video we'll look at problem number 57 from test 4 in your red book. So go ahead and pause the video for a minute and read that long question. Alright, so we've got a word problem here and it is a big long paragraph. So I would definitely put this in your second sweep category, not in the first sweep, just because it's going to take you probably 30 seconds to read this, let alone actually do the problem. So once you're ready to do it, let's go ahead and use word problem strategy to work our way through this one. So the first step is always to read the whole question and figure out what are we trying to solve. In this case, we want to know how many extra banners did they make. Then we're going to do step 2, where we go through the whole question, one sentence at a time, and organize all the information we have. So I went ahead and wrote that out here, and it's a lot of information. We know that for each banner, they need 1/4 yard of blue fabric and 3/8 of a yard of white fabric. But rather than buying the precise amount they needed, they're going to buy in 10-yard increments for blue and 12-yard increments for white because it's cheaper, I guess. And they need to make at least 500 banners, and based on the premise of the question, you can bet there's going to be some extra banners as well. So let's go ahead and solve this by figuring out how much extra fabric they bought for blue and how much extra fabric they bought for white. So let's go one color at a time here. So if they're buying blue in 10-yard bolts and you need 1/4 yard for each banner, you can do 10 divided by 1/4, or a lot of people can probably just do this one in their head. That's going to work out to 40 banners per bolt. And since we need 500 banners, we can do 500 divided by 40 to see how many bolts they would need for precisely 500. That works out to be 12.5 10-yard bolts of fabric. But since they're going to round up to the nearest 10-yard bolt, that means they're going to buy 13 10-yard bolts, or 130 yards of blue fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and do the math to figure out how many extra blue they could make, and then we're going to erase that to create some space. So 130 yards divided by 1/4 bolt per banner, that works out to be 520 banners they could make from blue. So let's write that up here. Blue, they have enough fabric for 520 banners. Okay. We need to hold this information and now go back and do it again for white, because whichever one has less fabric, that's going to be the number of extras they could make. So white, of course, is uglier numbers, which is going to make it a little more complicated. So it takes 3/8 of a yard for white, and it comes in 12-yard bolts. So let's see, what do we want to do here? 12-yard bolts divided by 3/8. You can do this in your calculator. Essentially what you're doing is 12 times 8 divided by 3. And that works out to be, hang on, 32 banners per bolt. So for every 12 yards of fabric they buy, they can get 32 banners. So let's figure out, we'll do the same math, 500 divided by 32 to figure out how many how many bolts they would need to do precisely 500. So 532, or 500 divided by 32 works out to be 15.625. Whoop, wrong number. 15.625. And just like we did on blue, we're going to round this up to 16 12-yard bolts. So 16 times 12 equals 192 yards. So then we're going to do this like this. 192 is the number of yards we have available, divided by 3/8 of a yard needed for each banner, and that gives us 512 banners. So what that means in the end is they have enough blue fabric for 520 banners and enough white fabric for 512 banners. And since we only have enough for 512 here, the number of extra, or more than 500, that they were able to make is going to be 12. So let's put this over here so it's out of the way. 12 extra is option A.